Hey yo, this is Church from Church's Intake. So let's talk about another situation. Let's talk about taking your emotions out of business dealings and dealings with your family, friends, and so forth. Um, since I've been on this journey, I've learned that you can't have anger and you can't be in your emotions when you're dealing with people and business and such things of that nature. Um, you have to do it the proper, correct way. If you wanted to grow your business, you can't like involve people that's not supposed to be involved in your growth if they're not ready, or if God told you to separate from these people. And usually people fail when they use friends and family and such things, familiar faces, familiar, friends, family members that you grew up with, believing that they have the same interests that you might have. And technically, that could be your greatest downfall when dealing, especially in the corporate aspect, or business relations, or just handling family business. um a lot of the times you have to kind of deal with, like, when you're trying to grow a business, or you're trying to grow yourself, for instance. You kind of want to, you have to be professional. So being professional, some people that you grew up with, or family members or such, they remember you as the young kid, or the young person that you grew up with, or they remember the old you, for instance, instead of the new and improved you that you're trying to achieve. And you're trying to achieve greatness, I hope. And when you're trying to do these things, some of these folk, you know, they don't want to excel in life like you might want to excel. So there's going to be friction and stagnation with that, because you thinking that you might be helping a friend or a family member, but their mindset and the growth that they're at, and where you're trying to go, and possibly where you're at, are on two different levels. So there's going to be a lot of turmoil with that. And some of these people are going to be like, they could be your older brother, siblings, sisters or whatever, relatives, older relatives, even maybe younger relatives, but they know the old version of you. They don't know the new you, that the new you that you've been trying to build and establish greatness, trying to be in your purpose and do different things. Um, God's got to work in those people to grow them. And more or less, when God's got you in your purpose is not going to technically be the purpose of the people that you grew up with, your friends, your family, and so on and so forth. So you guys are going to have two different roads of getting to the top of your purpose or your greatness. And some people are like, oh, family, this, that, and the third. Oh, I want to build, and then I want to help my family. That's good and all, but your family can be your greatest enemy or your greatest downfall if you don't take emotions out of the circumstances. Like when you're dealing with people that technically, let's say, like, work for you, or work for your business to grow, you kind of don't really use, like, family members and such of that nature. And when you're using strangers, it's definitely straight business. It's like, hey, you're performing well or you're not performing well enough, so I have to let you go. And when you're dealing with family members and these things of that nature, you're not going to be too, let's say, you're not going to be so willing to release them when they need to be released if they're not performing to the aspect of what you want them to. So if you're dealing with a stranger or if you hired a worker for you, you know what kind of performance you want out of them, and you will deal with that according to how you know they're functioning. So if they're not performing to the aspect of what you want them to perform to, you're going to fire them, release them, set them on their way, send them on their way. And when you're dealing with family and friends, you kind of have your guard down in an aspect. That's why they say, it's better not to do business with family and friends, because you have a soft spot in your heart for them, that you want them to excel. Their kinfolk. Their children. You might know their circumstances, and hey, if they lose this job that you gave them or something of that nature, they lose this position that you're helping them to get to, and they need this money. It's like you're going to look at it as, oh, I just need to keep on helping them because of their family, and they might not respect you like they're supposed to. Like when they're working for the corporation or some other person like that, that is all business related, they're going to put in their best foot forward because they don't want to get fired. But if they're working for you, they're not going to do these type of things. You know what I mean? They're going to try to see what they can get away with. And, if you're dealing with someone that believes that they're old or that is older than you or whatever, like a family member, brother, or whatever, if they're older than you and they're looking to you like, oh, you my little brother, you're my little sister or something like that, and they're like, oh, well, I'm older than you, so I should be this, that, and the third. And it's just like, no, you don't have that mindset. You don't have the business mindset inside of you. You didn't go through the fire. You didn't go through the trials and tribulations to even be at the position that you want to try to take from me, or that you believe that you deserve because you know me. And a lot of people got to understand that, when dealing, you can't have these feelings. You can't have feelings of emotions when dealing, especially when you're growing yourself as well. Like when that, the agents, the devil's advocates, what sometimes they try to come up against you when you're growing yourself as well. And then there might be, a fork in the road or a hiccup that, that you have to handle that situation professionally. You can't just outright just start screaming and yelling at people because they're not doing what you need them to do. You know how you got to go to God, and you have to talk to God. God is your advocate, so you use God, and, you keep it business. You know what I'm saying? You can't let the devil disturb the foundation that you're trying to establish, because many weapons shall form, but they shall not prosper. And he's going to use these different things, especially if you used to be a hothead, or you used to be a well into your emotions, dealing with certain type of situations, things, people, or whatever. The devil kind of knows these things about you. And when God's growing you, he shows you how to handle these things. And then once he gets you to a certain level, the devil's still going to try to come back. Let me move this up. So, I got all the light hitting me right now. I guess because it's word, But when the devil's coming at you, he's going to, stop for a season. But then he's going to try to come back to see if you have grown. See if you have, let that thing go. Let the emotions go, so you can still grow and achieve the greatness that God wants you to achieve. And when you're also elevating new levels, new devils. So when you're going into like corporations, or you got new business adventures, you got to deal with different people. So those are the new levels, new devils that you have to deal with, and you have to deal with it on a professional level, handling your business. You know what I'm saying? My people died from lack of knowledge. So you have to use the knowledge that God has gave you to achieve certain statuses, to achieve certain, positions in your life that you need to have in order to achieve the actual climax of where you want to be. So you can't use the old ways or the old tactics of, oh, let me bully my way in. Oh, let me, let me hit them with the, oh, I do this and I do that. You know what I mean? You have to learn the new way, and God's teaching you the new way, but you have to do it professionally. And when something comes up, you can't just get all ignorant. You can't just get all in your feelings, because you have to use your mind to achieve and overcome certain trials and tribulations. Now, everyone knows that's been trying to achieve their purpose, that the destination, God gives you a vision of the destination that He wants you to kind of be at. You don't know everything, but kind of like the path that God's trying to move you towards. So, that being said, you have to also know that there's going to be new trials and tribulations, and you have to overcome these trials and tribulations to be your greatest self. And you have to learn the business aspect of things. You have to learn how to do it with peace. You have to learn to pray more. You have to be, more vigilant. You have to be more, going into your prayer closet and talking to God about these situations that comes up against you, instead of, you going to other folk and telling people, woe is me, and I can't do this because these people is coming up against me. You already know, once you started that journey, that people and new people will be trying to come up against you and trying to stop you and stagnate you. And you have to have the faith that none of these people will be able to stop, stagnate, or delay anything. That's the faith. You have to move with the faith, and you have to go through all the fires, all the turmoil, and it's going to grow you to be stronger and ready for the elevation that you need to get to. And when you get there, you'll know how to handle these situations. You'll know how to talk other people through these same situations, these trials and tribulations that you've been through, that it's like, hey, no, you don't have to do it that way. You can do it this way. But because a lot of us are on our own different journeys in life, God is using all of us to, elevate each other. Some of us is in the corporate atmosphere. Some of us is in the entertainment atmosphere. Some of us is, the speakers for God to be in the temple. But all of us have our own purpose and our own journey and our own way of getting to where we need to get to, that we can help others get to where they need to get to, and by going through these things and different things of life, and these new trials and tribulations that you have to go to, call it all joy. Take it and excel with it. And it's not easy. I will not tell anybody that this journey is easy, because it's not. It's not. You will have times that you feel like crashing out. You will have times that you feel like crying. You will have times that it's going to humble you. And you're going to have times that you're going to be excited and you're going to excel. But you have to go through all these different things for growth. If you don't fail in certain things, you won't achieve greatness. And that's basically it. You have to go through these trials and tribulations. So if you're trying to achieve certain things, you're trying to be on your purpose, you're trying to be great, you have to know that the enemy is going to come up against you. The enemy don't want you to get to your climax. The enemy don't want you to be your strongest self. The enemy wants you to be doubting. The enemy wants you to think that God is not there with you when he is. But God needs you to come to him and tell him, even though he already knows, he just wants to hear your voice talking to him. As you're building with him, he's going to show you more things. He's going to elevate you more. And you have to have that faith that he will show you, elevate you, and supersede all expectations than you've ever dreamed and imagined. But it's not easy. If anyone tells you that this is easy, there's going to be people that be like, oh, you don't know what you talking about. Oh, you ain't had it as hard as me. You could have had it way harder. More or less, I know the people that's in their purpose has it way harder. But you don't tell people how hard you got it. You go through it. You know what I'm saying? We don't cry about circumstances and situations. We ask God to bless us to have the strength to go through all circumstances and situations, that we come out unscathed, unburned, untouched, that he shows his strength through us, that we can hold our head up high, that we know that God is there for us, fighting for us. But you have to be willing to go through these things. So I'm going to leave that one right there. I'll probably talk about it in another sit or something like that. But I'm just leaving that right there for now. Thank God that God is always with us and trying to help us grow and showing us new ways of living and bringing in this new earth. God bless.